Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We wish to welcome you to this luncheon. Please continue to eat while the program commences. My name is Nate Eaton. I'm with EastIdahoNews.com. We welcome you and thank you for joining us as we honor heroes among us, those individuals who put their own safety at risk to help those they have often never met. Today we will honor men and women who embody the spirit of the American Red Cross by turning empathy into action. And there's no better time to recognize them as we also celebrate National Red Cross Month. We're pleased to have so many of you with us today for our 4th annual East Idaho Real Heroes Award Luncheon. This event celebrates the spirit of humanitarianism and brings together community leaders, first responders, emergency and safety personnel, businesses, and citizens to recognize the extraordinary people who make our communities better, safer, and wonderful places to call home. We have some really amazing stories to share with you today. Our heroes hail from all across eastern Idaho. Some have made careers of saving lives, while others answered the call for the first time without any formal training. But what they all have in common is a willingness to perform a truly remarkable act in the face of adversity. And you'll see that all of them are pretty humble. Today is especially important because we're not only recognizing these heroes, but we're also raising money needed to help save lives by placing Red Cross emergency response vehicles here in East Idaho. During a disaster, these vehicles are on the front line, delivering food, supplies, and hope to those neighborhoods who need it most, often going door to door, meeting people face to face. Once designed to resemble an ambulance, the new generation of response vehicles have been overhauled. Wi-Fi enables volunteers to complete critical casework at disaster sources, and 2 larger feeder windows allow the Red Cross to serve families more efficiently. There's also external lighting that can be used to light dark disaster sites. You can see them on the screen. These vehicles can make all the difference to families cut off from critical services they depend on. Thanks to a generous sponsor, half of the new response vehicle is already paid for, if the Red Cross of Greater Idaho can raise the remaining $62,500. So far, we have tallied $46,700 with just about $16,000 left to go. And that's where you can come in, and it's pretty easy to help. You can make a donation right now from your phone. Just text the word HEROES to 74121. Again, that's HEROES to 74121. After you send your text, you will get a message telling you how to finalize your donation. And there's also a reference donation text sheet on your tables that has some information. It's that simple. We can keep track of the progress instantaneously. And the screen here to your right apparently tracks in real time, you're right, real time, the donations that come in. $50 just came in, thank you. So we have a goal to raise $25 in the next hour and a half. Are you in? Can you do it? We'll see. All right. Now, if you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Liza Leonard.
Join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Liza. Now I would like to invite Nicole Sirak Irwin, CEO of the American Red Cross of Idaho and Montana, to the podium.
Thank you, Nate, for hosting again, and for all of you for coming. Once again, we have a sold-out crowd here. Just look at how many people. We fill this room every year, and it's a pleasure to see you all again. I'm Nicole Sirak Irwin. I'm the regional CEO for Greater Idaho and Montana chapter of the American Red Cross. And, you know, at the Red Cross, almost everything we do can be credited to others. We can't do what we do without people like you, without our community, our volunteers, the steadfast support of our donors, the communities who help us in good times and in bad. And as we prepare to recognize today's heroes, we have a lot of people to thank today, so that's my job. First, I want to honor some of the dignitaries and elected officials who are in the room. We have some mayors, county commissioners, sheriff, and chiefs of police and fire. So they're on a slide that will be shown, and could you stand so we can welcome you and recognize you properly? And as Nate mentioned, we really do have this exciting new component of this year's fundraiser. So all of the proceeds that are raised in this event will go to our new emergency response vehicle. And because we have some really special corporations that help us, all of the expenses are paid for this event. So the lunches that you're eating, the audio visual, every single piece of this, the hotel rooms that some of us stayed in, they're all donated. And most of those donations came from Ball Ventures, who donate this space and the audio visual and the lunches that you're eating. And then Melaleuca has donated these beautiful awards so the heroes can take something home that's really lasting. And so would Liza Leonard and Tony Lima from Melaleuca, we want to have you stand and say thank you so that all of the proceeds today go to our programs. Thank you. So as we mentioned, we're at about the $47,600 mark, and there are many people in this room that helped us get there, so I'm going to name off some names here, and we'll ask that you hold your response until the end. Our presenting sponsors are Ball Ventures, Batal Energy Group, Bingham Memorial Hospital, FinFun, and Melaleuca. Our award sponsors are Albertsons, CenturyLink, Monsanto, and Mountain View Hospital. We also have something called the Idaho 100 Society, and these are donors that make donations every year to help us cover our disaster relief costs, and we like to thank them as well. Albertsons Companies, AT&T, CenturyLink, Melaleuca, Regents Blue Shield of Idaho, State Farm, and Wells Fargo. You'll also see that Eastern Idaho News, as our media sponsor, plays a huge role in this event. We are so grateful to Nate and his storytelling skills, as well as all the things he does for us. So they're our media sponsors. And the table sponsors are also listed here, and we just simply could not do this event and raise the funds that we need for our programs without your support. So please join me in thanking all of our sponsors. And so as many of you know, nominations for our heroes are open all year round, and they can be found on our website. And it's a very difficult task to figure out, of all the wonderful, worthy people who are nominated, who receives these, the hero title for 2018. And so I want to recognize our event committee. They help us plan this event, but they also help select the heroes. And would you all stand so we could recognize you as well? And personally, I want to make sure that our staff are properly thanked. Christopher Davis, in particular, most of you have probably intersected with him at some point in this event over the years, and he's really helped us build this event. So I want to really recognize Christopher's event, as well as Jennifer Schubert, Ann Callanan, Danielle Pozernick, Matt Oxner, and Rusty Devereaux for all your work throughout the year. And you're the best team. I'm so proud to serve with you, so thank you. And I'm going to transition a little bit to talk about the historic year that we had for disaster response. So how many of you remember August, September, October, when it was hurricane after hurricane? And this was unprecedented from the Red Cross. And what added an interesting element is we oversee Montana as well. And so wildfire season in Montana started very early this year in July. And so over 1 million acres were burning in Montana, some very close to population, at the same time that we were being asked to serve and deploy our resources nationally. So as you remember, Hurricane Harvey, then there was Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Maria, the shooting in Las Vegas, the Northern California wildfires, the Southern California wildfires, and then the horrible mudslides that happened after that. And I want to give you a sense of the scope of what that meant for the Red Cross. So over those 90 days, we provided more than 1.3 million overnight stays in our shelters. That's more people than we had ever sheltered in 5 years combined. Millions of meals. It took 16,800 trained disaster workers to help us do that over pretty much the entire southern eastern part of our country. We've never seen anything like it. And 91% of those 16,000 people were volunteers. that they train now. They train they're all in training in the next couple of weeks. They keep their training current so they're ready to go at a drop of a hat. And 30 of those volunteers came from Idaho. But I also want to talk about what Eastern Idaho did in this national response, because a lot of companies, churches, and schools mobilized as well. So we had people we had children who held lemonade stands and brought the proceeds into our office. We had a child who donated their birthday money. In fact, we had several of those. We had some people come into our office that looked like they didn't have a lot to spare, and yet they found a way to contribute. And many companies and organizations here in Eastern Idaho helped as well, and many are in this room. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what you all did. And I know I'm going to leave out some of the responses, but some of our partners included Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center. They sent 2 of their nurses to help with the influx of medical needs in the communities. The ServPro franchises across the country sent recovery teams down to the destroyed communities to rebuild and get life back to normal as quickly as possible. Albertson stores and all of their brands coast to coast opened up their customer donation program, and they also matched that for about $1 million donation. They also then mobilized very quickly, and in early hours, we had food and water sent out to many of our disaster shelters, and in early days, they were helping us mobilize. And Idaho Falls' own Melaleuca did the same thing. They came to the Red Cross before Harvey hit landfall, and they asked, how can we help? So they sent truckloads of food and needed supplies to Houston, to Florida, and then they loaded up a plane of needed supplies and got that equipment into Puerto Rico when the only things that were flying in were military transport. They were credited with literally saving lives, and their help got there just in time. They got water to Beaumont, Texas, and their generators helped restore power to hospitals in Puerto Rico. So that was a lot that you all did. So you're all heroes, and I think we should celebrate that. So one more round of applause for all of you in the room. I'm happy to report that generosity and compassion are alive and well in this part of our state and in our cities and towns, and it's a pleasure to see you and be a part of this event with you every year. So my very good friend and someone we call Uncle Dane Watkins. He has been a Red Cross board member for more than 11 years. He's dedicated most of his life to the work that we do here. And he's the immediate past president of our board of directors. And he has a few words he'd like to share with you. So thank you, Dane, if you can make your way up.
Thank you, Nicole. It's an honor and a privilege to be here this afternoon and express our gratitude for you being here this special day. And it's important that we have this celebration. We've done this 4 years on our side of the state. We got the idea from Boise, and they had this for several years before us. And when I joined the board, we thought, gosh, let's do this in Idaho and Eastern Idaho, and this is why we brought it to this location, and it's been a great success. I have on your tables, my friend Kevin called these good cherry cordials. That's kind of our trademark that we use every year, and they're good candy bars for you. Kevin Call, my good friend, has been furnishing these for us for the last 4 years, and his family's been making these every year since 1911. And these were made in 1912, so so enjoy them. They're still really good, you know. We've been on ice. But wherever there's a catastrophe or challenge or any emergency comes to anybody in this country or throughout the world, the Red Cross is there to alleviate human suffering with compassion and kindness, and that's been our mission for the last 100 years, and I can testify to you that's our mission today. I appreciate each one of you being here. I share with you one little experience I had back in '76 when the Teton Dam broke in June of that year, and our business is right down on this river on the Greenbelt, and we were flooded that day on that particular Saturday. I remember standing selling scouts and international pickups, and they announced on the radio that the Teton Dam had broke. And I thought to myself, well, what does that mean? I didn't put a lot together and didn't think it was that serious. And then we found out the repercussions of it and the Red Cross involvement in that. I can testify to you today that with the Red Cross's help, they helped save our business. That next day, we were sandbagging. Church had been called off for the day, for that particular day throughout our community. And I can tell you from personal experience what it meant to us to have people come and help. And that was my first involvement with the Red Cross. And I said to myself at that time, what can we do as a business to help this organization? And so that's why I'm here today, because I believe in what they do. We have a lot of challenges. You can see in our news tonight at 10 o'clock or in the morning's paper, there's a lot of challenges in our communities, in our state and our nation. And I look to what happened in Florida, but I say to myself, we have this event today to recognize the real heroes in our communities up and down this valley, and I appreciate the ones that are going to be recognized here in the next few minutes. We need to do this. We need to acknowledge what they've done. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. It's a marvelous, marvelous organization, and I'm proud to be a part of it. I want to bring Nicole back up. She's has the responsibility as our CEO. She does a great job, not only in Idaho, but she has a responsibility in Montana. And she has a big, big job covering 2 states, does a great job. And I want to acknowledge what she does 24/7. She has no time clock. She works around the clock wherever it's needed in these 2 states to make these things happen as we have today and throughout each year. And so I'd like to give her a round of applause for what she's done. I can't help but have we rely on 2 segments. We've got the donors and we've got the volunteers. That's the people that help the Red Cross. And I'd like the donors, please stand, and the volunteers, our staff, let's everybody stand and let's have a round of applause. I think everybody should be recognized for what they do. Please stand up. Yeah. It's marvelous. It's marvelous, and I appreciate each one of you. I appreciate being here. We want to have a better place to live, to work, and raise our families. The Red Cross helps us do this. There's nobody in the world that can do what the Red Cross does, and they do it without asking the taxpayers for money. This is all donations. Everything we get is donations, and we appreciate the effort from everybody. We haven't talked about the blood program. We haven't talked the military program, the training that goes into people learn CPR, all the things that the Red Cross does, but it's a great organization, and I appreciate this young lady here for what she does. I turn this back over to Nate, and thank you for being here today very, very much.
I hope your dessert was good. All righty, here we go. Let's get started. Liza Leonard with Ball Ventures. She is here to present the Fire Safety Hero Award to our first honoree. Check out the screen.
The entire building didn't go. There's not any part of the old building that didn't collapse.
It was nearly midnight on a cold November evening here at the Safe Haven Hospital Care Center when a staff member started smelling smoke.
He couldn't locate where it was coming from, and it was getting stronger. He immediately just pulled the fire alarm and started evacuating. All the staff started evacuating residents to the dining room.
The smell was strong, but flames could not be seen. Then smoke started leaking through light fixtures on the ceiling.
So they evacuated all the residents outside.
Pocatello fire crews arrived and began helping with the evacuation of 49 residents plus employees.
And these are difficult occupants, everything from physically challenged to mentally challenged occupants.
Crews quickly realized the fire was between the ceiling and the roof in attic space. But with strong winds and no fire sprinklers, it became difficult to fight.
We were very concerned about the structural collapse of the roof because of the intense fire that was up in the roof.
As firefighters tackled the blaze, residents were loaded onto 3 buses and taken to Portland Medical Center, where they waited in the lobby until temporary housing could be secured.
It was kind of just neat to see how everybody came together.
None of the 49 residents were injured in the fire, although some of them did experience smoke inhalation. And incredibly, none of the firefighters who responded were hurt.
Crews performed flawlessly, They did all the right things. They kept the right priorities in mind.
The residents are now staying in other facilities, and investigators believe heat lamps may have started the fire, but an official cause has not yet been determined. It's unclear what will happen to the building, but one thing's for sure, this could have ended a lot differently without the fast-acting Safe Haven employees and firefighters stepping up.
Super proud of the way they acted.
And I can't say enough for the firemen either. I mean, those guys were just right there, and they were giving good guidance.
Liza will now present the 2018 Fire Safety Award to Safe Haven Care Center staff and Pocatello Fire Department B Platoon. Will driver operator Jake Selman and Fire Chief David Gates from the Pocatello Fire Department, along with Scott Burpee and Karen Nilsson from the Safe Haven Care Center, please join us on stage. Will Sean Hegstead with Melaleuca please come to the podium? He will present our 2018 Law Enforcement Hero Award.
What I need you to do is set that gun down on the sidewalk.
This body camera footage shows critical moments of what happened on a night Idaho Falls police officer Bart Whiting will never forget.
To be honest with you, I was really kind of inside freaking out.
It was around 1 a.m. on January 12th when the call came in that a suicidal man was on Chute Avenue in downtown Idaho Falls.
He was laying down on the ground and with gun pointed at his head.
My name's Bart.
Whiting arrived within 30 seconds of the call, and he quickly realized the man in his late 20s or early 30s needed help.
And I will treat you with respect.
So I started talking to him and he sat up and then the gun became really big.
Eventually, 17 officers and deputies arrived to assist, but it was Whiting who built a rapport with the man and convinced him to put his gun down.
I think it's imperative to say not only did he keep the guy from shooting himself, but he managed to keep the young man from pointing the weapon at us and, causing us to have to shoot him.
We can do this very peacefully, all right? Set him down. There you go, bud.
After the man was in protective custody, Whiting took him to Irwin, then stayed with him 4 hours to show support.
He's a retired military. Talked about some PTSD. Just had a really bad year. One of his best friends had completed suicide.
Whiting doesn't consider himself a hero,
Slowly.
but anything could have happened that January night, and because of this officer's actions, another man is still alive.
I don't think I did anything special. I do have a general love and care for people. I really believe in the ideal of the job, the shield, and protecting people.
Sean will now present the Law Enforcement Hero Award to Idaho Falls Police Officer Bart Whiting. Officer Whiting, will you please come up here? Liza Leonard will now help present the Youth Hero Award to our honoree.
It was scary. My adrenaline was going so fast.
Whitney Abel, Lizzie Coons, and Josh Taylor were on their way to pick up a friend for a school basketball game when they noticed the driver of another vehicle acting a little off.
As we were driving down 17, we noticed that he came really upon this car really fast in front of her and then slammed on the brake.
Well, what did they drive now? The teens say the driver was swerving all over the place, so they called 911 and began recording with a cell phone camera.
We flipped around and we followed her, and then we saw that she ran into the fence, and I was like, okay, there must be something not right with this lady. She ran through mailboxes and the fence and almost hit a couple cars.
She won't stop. The group decided to follow the woman while on the phone with the 911 dispatcher. Eventually, the driver stopped at an Ammon home, and Bonneville County Sheriff deputies were there to greet her. 36-year-old Colette Shaw was arrested and charged with felony driving under the influence, her fourth offense. Investigators say she blew 3 times the legal limit.
I just think that we were just trying to do a good thing. Do a good thing. We just didn't want anybody else to get hurt.
Will Lizzie Coons, Joshua Clark, and Whitney Apel please join us on stage? Will Brian Zill from Mountain View Hospital please come to the podium to present the Medical Hero Award to our honorees?
Doing real well. Feel like I'm a man.
Brian Underwood has reffed basketball games for decades, but on January 10th, as the Highland High School 9th grade girls team played Hillcrest High, everything changed.
He actually fell on the court. It was obviously he was having some sort of medical problem.
Pocatello firefighter Jake Leidy was there watching his daughter play in the game. He and several others rushed down to see what was wrong.
He was struggling to breathe, didn't have a pulse, and we determined pretty quickly that he had some sort of cardiac event.
Highlands athletic director Keith Forkin grabbed an AED and shocked the 77-year-old's chest, hoping for success.
The important thing is we had the right people there and the right equipment there.
Underwood's heart started to beat again, and he was rushed to Portland Medical Center. Doctors learned he had a blocked artery and say he's lucky to be alive.
As far as recovery for him and someone like him, you just don't see very many people, like him.
Underwood continues to recover and thinks this may be a sign that it's time to stop reffing. As for just glad they could help.
I don't do this job to get recognition for it, whether I'm here or somewhere else, but I'm just very humbled, and hopefully it may inspire someone else to take a CPR class and to realize that they can do a lot actually just by learning CPR.
Brian will now present the 2018 Medical Hero Award to Keith Forkin and Jake Leidy. Keith and Jake, will you please join us on stage? And I believe I saw Mr. Underwood, the ref. Are you here, Mr. Underwood? Will you please stand? Have you reffed another game? No. Okay. He's retired. We're glad you're here with us. Will Amy Lintz from Battelle Energy Alliance please come to the podium to present the Search and Rescue Hero Awards to our honorees?
Would have had planned on a backcountry ski day in Utah National Park.
It began as a normal March day for Mike Connolly, his wife Julie, and friends John Cook and Randy Lee.
Beautiful day.
The group was on their way up Maverick Peak and decided to stop for lunch when Mike began to feel a little off.
Started getting a little nondescript pain in the center of my chest. I thought it was indigestion. I thought maybe I was hungry.
After eating some food, the experienced 61-year-old skier went to adjust his ski. That's when he became lightheaded and rolled onto his side into the snow.
And I sat there for a few minutes, and it seemed like a few minutes, it probably wasn't that long. And I said, I think I'm having a heart attack. Things changed rapidly at that point.
Miraculously, Julie was able to get a cell phone signal, and her 911 call was routed to Grand Teton National Park.
We determined that he very well could be having a cardiac event.
Grand Teton Park officials immediately contacted Teton County Search and Rescue, who initiated their helicopter. The key was getting Mike off of the mountain as quickly and safely as possible.
So when we first flew over the scene, we could see the party and the patient, and everyone looked like they were alive and awake.
The helicopter couldn't land next to Mike because of the steep mountain, but the plan was to lower a harness, strap him in, and then fly him to safety. But as Mike began preparing for the flight, things drastically changed fast.
Got this kind of, it's a strange feeling. It's kind of a flushing, really lightheaded feel, and I just fell over into the snow.
Randy and I rolled Mike over and started CPR.
The helicopter came back, ready to pick Mike up, and that's when the crew realized something wasn't right.
I could see this up and down motion, and it was just my heart sunk in out. It's like, oh no.
The chopper left again and went to a landing spot where a doctor and medic could fasten themselves to a rope and ride in, hooked to the helicopter until they could unhook from the rope on the mountain.
They drop those two off and they come running over through the snow.
The doctor used a defibrillator on Mike, and after several long minutes, his heart began beating on its own.
I don't remember if it was Scott or Will yelling in my face, can you hear me, can you hear me?
The emergency crew loaded Mike into a cradle attached to the end of a rope from the chopper. He was transported to another medical helicopter, where he was then flown to Ermac. Doctors determined he had a complete blockage of one of his main arteries.
They call it, if you look at the electrical signal from the heart, that's what they call a tombstone signal.
Mike ended up with 3 stents, and over the past year, he's continued to recover from his heart attack. And just weeks ago, he went back on the same mountain and finished the ski adventure he was unable to complete a year ago. The rescue crews who helped him that day will never forget it.
It's once in a lifetime for us, I think, to see something like that.
I mean, it still gives me goosebumps.
And Mike will never forget them.
Brothers, they're the heroes in my book.
Amy will now present the 2018 Search and Rescue Award to Terry Romansky, representing the Teton County Sheriff's Department, Andrew White from the Grand Teton National Park, and Randy Lee and Jonathan Cook. Would Terry, David, Randy, and Jonathan please come to the stage? Also joining us today is the man they helped rescue, Mike Connolly and his wife Julie. Mike and Julie, will you please come up?
Yes, come on.
I think they want a picture with all of you.
Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna sit aside.
Thank you. The fact that they were able to get a cell phone signal, that would have changed everything. Will Arlie Smith from CenturyLink please come to the podium to present the Animal Rescue Hero Award?
We do this because we love animals.
The Idaho Falls Animal Shelter has 2 goals: provide a place for these furry critters and protect residents from dangerous cats and dogs.
We want to make sure that the animals are safe, but we also need to make sure that the human population is safe too.
Irene Brown has worked here 12 years. She's seen thousands of animals come and go. The dogs and cats are mostly brought in by animal control officers who pick them up on the streets, or they're dropped off by folks who find strays.
We test them to put into our adoption program, and if they're good candidates and can be be adopted, we attempt to adopt them out.
The animal shelter functions in large part thanks to volunteers. One group of ladies work around 30 hours each without pay, helping their furry friends. They call themselves owls.
Older women without wives. When you're retired, you don't have anything to do, I can't even imagine just not doing it.
In 2017, nearly 1,800 dogs were impounded here at the shelter and over 2,500 cats. But the shelter has also received rabbits, snakes, even a chicken.
People need to be responsible pet owners. Spay and neuter your pet. Keep your pet in. License your pet. Put ID on your pet.
The shelter does have to euthanize some animals, but Brown says with dogs, that only happens if the canine is hopelessly injured or public safety is at risk.
And we have to euthanize a lot of healthy, happy cats that have, there's nothing wrong with them, other than there's just nowhere for them to go.
Those who work or volunteer here don't do it for recognition. They just want to help their four-legged friends and keep you safe.
Because we don't do this because we want to be heroes. We do this because we love animals, and we want what's best for them.
As a bonus, you're all going home with a cat. So Arlie will now present the 2018 Animal Rescue Hero Award to Idaho Falls Police Department Captain Steve Hunt, representing the animal shelter, and Shirlene Tomchak. She represents the shelter's dedicated volunteers, the Owls. Would Captain Hunt and Shirlene please join us? And the animal shelter staff, will you please stand?
That's what I was trying to communicate.
Thank you. Will Bob Monk from Monsanto please come to the podium to present the Workplace Hero Award to our honoree?
It was a pretty gruesome scene.
It's a day Coy Danner will never forget. The UPS driver was on County Line Road on his way to pick up a package when he saw a truck and a car suddenly crash into this canal full of water.
The truck was buried in the water right here. The car was buried down in there, and they were hooked together. That truck held that car by its bumper, and I thought that car was going to go down far downstream.
Danner pulled over and ran to the vehicles. People were in the truck, and 52-year-old Wayne Walker was inside the car.
And he wasn't responsive.
Danner pulled Walker from the car and held on to him. He had a faint heartbeat, and a few seconds later, some other guys helped the UPS driver carry the victim to safety. Walker was flown to Ermac, where unfortunately he died a week and a half later.
Wish there could have been a better outcome, but we gave him a fighting chance.
Despite the tragic outcome, one of Walker's family members tells EastIdahoNews.com that Danner is a hero in our eyes, a title Danner's not quite comfortable with.
I don't ever think of myself as a hero, but something just put me here that day, that time. I'm never here at that time.
Bob will now present the 2018 Workplace Hero Award to Coy Danner. Coy, would you please join us on stage? Will Idaho Falls City Council member Michelle Zill-Dingman and Dane Dingman please come to the podium to present the Water Safety Hero Award on behalf of FinFun?
This video shows the seriousness of the situation. A man on a cold January day clinging to a rock while the rest of his body is submerged in the frigid, ice-cold Snake River.
Water down there, anything helping I can be of some help.
Nathan Fillmore shot the video. He was at the river in Idaho Falls working with a film crew on a commercial when ambulances, police cars, and fire engines pulled up.
A civilian had been standing near the rocks, taking pictures, slipped in, fell into the river.
We had very limited information when the call came out.
The man was on the phone with dispatch explaining where he was in the water, but emergency crews had a hard time finding him. Nathan began walking along the banks of the river looking for any sign of human life.
Just right out of the corner of my eye, I just saw his head poking up out of the water, and he was looking directly at me. I could tell he was almost at energy because he was trying to wave his beanie at me, but he couldn't speak, and he was just kind of flopping his wet beanie.
Nathan yelled to emergency responders that he had found the man, and they rushed over and pulled him out in the nick of time.
He was probably in the water for almost 12, 13 minutes. He was about done. I think it had been there 5 minutes and he might have lost it.
Were he to let go of the cliff face, he very possibly could have gotten sucked under the ice and downstream and been, trapped under that ice shelf for quite some time.
The man was treated on the scene and is lucky to be alive. Emergency responders say they were just doing their jobs and shouldn't be called heroes.
Someone that does their job is not a hero. They're just someone that does their job. Heroes are people that do things that that's not expected of them.
It was very close to that being a much worse situation.
I'm more inclined to feel like that was some divine intervention. I don't know. I was just the right place at the right time. I'm glad I was able to help.
Michelle and Dane will now present the 2018 Water Safety Hero Award to Idaho Falls Fire Battalion Chief Cody Anderson and firefighter paramedic Sean Allen from the fire department, along with Deputy Chris Ricks and Sheriff Paul Wild from the Bonneville County Sheriff's Office, and the photographer Nathan Fillmore. Will you all please join us on stage? Will Dr. Joseph Weatherly from Bingen Memorial Hospital please come to the podium to present the Blood Donor Hero Award to our honoree?
For me, it's literally the least I can do.
Jeremy Plotho has been donating blood for at least a decade.
The price of orange juice is very high lately, and they give it to me for free afterwards.
And also has several reasons why he donates. It comes down to this.
Just sit in a chair, and they poke me with the needle, and someone could benefit from it, so why the heck wouldn't you do it?
Try not to move your arm hairs, please.
As a child, Plotho was a blood recipient after surviving a bad accident. And now, as a middle school teacher, he participates in a blood drive held at his school every year.
When you have these horrific events where suddenly lots of blood is needed, and it can save people's lives very easily, to me, it's a sacred responsibility that we have to each other to do that.
Plotho says he's not doing anything special. In his words, when he learned he was being honored as a hero,
It's an absurdity. You can't say no to it because someone wants to give you an award. Why not? But the idea of getting an award for sitting here and giving blood for half an hour, to me, it's a little insane.
and award or not, Plotho will continue to come back again and again, donating his time and blood for others in need.
God forbid something happens to me, I would hope that someone would have been good enough a few weeks earlier to sit here for half an hour and get some free orange juice out of it, so I could live another day.
Dr. Weatherly will now present the 2018 Blood Donor Hero Award to Jeremy Plotho. Jeremy, will you please join us on stage? We should have had orange juice at your table. I'm sorry. Will Tony Lima from Melaleuca please come to the podium to present the Everyday Hero Award?
you don't know what you're gonna do until it happens.
Larry Orchard says it seems like just yesterday when he and his wife Joyce nearly died in an explosion and fire inside their camper.
Blew these panels out.
Larry was on his way to hunt with a friend near Mount Dora. The week before, he had unhooked this heater from a gas valve inside the camper, but he forgot to turn the gas line off. Joyce suffered a stroke 8 years ago and can't walk. She was along for the ride when the couple stopped to spend the night and woke up the next morning for breakfast.
So I get up, I try to make a coffee, and I can't get the stove to light.
Larry tried and tried to light the stove, but the gas was silently shooting out of this line where the heater used to sit and filling up the camper. He grabbed a match and the burner finally lit.
The reason we get the oil brought it down and the fire just jumped off the stove top, and the whole room went kawoosh, boom, and it blew me like a champagne cork right out the door, and the fire just rolling out of the doorway, and she's in there.
Joyce was sitting on this couch with their dog Spanky.
He stayed right with her on the couch.
With burns on his hands and back, Larry bolted into the 1,500-degree trailer.
And I picked her up, just aimed her at the door and just chucked her, so they couldn't walk her past that torch. And I couldn't take the time to take 5 seconds to walk her out.
Larry ran to shut the gas off, then waited for the flames to die down before using a fire extinguisher to put out the hot spots. Joyce had severe burns on her face, eyes, hands, and inside her throat. With no cell phone signal and the nearest hospital over an hour away, Larry jumped in the truck and took off.
My hands were burned off. I drove with the back of this thumb and my wrist. You know, I alternated with my elbows.
The Orchards arrived at the Lost Rivers Medical Clinic in Arco, and Joyce was flown to the University of Utah Burn Center with second-degree burns.
What did they end up saying about your wife?
Oh, she's gonna die. Yeah, and she looked like a Hiroshima victim.
After 10 agonizing days, Joyce suddenly began improving, and miraculously, she was released from the hospital 5 days later. Since that day, Larry has thought a lot about the fire and says he's fortunate he and Joyce weren't wearing nylon.
Leave the nylon off of you when you're camping. That instantly melts. In 1 second, it melts and burning. And now you've got a burning, melting, plasticky mess all over you out there with a wall of fire.
The Orchards admit they're lucky to be alive and know this story could have had a different ending.
I thought I waited or paused or went into shock. We've been not here today.
Gotta tell you, she was running at the mall 8 years ago in Pocatello with her dogs when she had this massive stroke, and they said that she would die and told Larry to put her in a home, and he took her home. And the way that couple, it was an incredible morning to spend with them. Because of a family emergency, they could not be here today, but Tony will present that award to Pocatello Chief David Gates on Larry's behalf. Chief Gates, would you please join us? Will Dane Watkins please come to the podium to present the Spirit of the Red Cross Award on behalf of Albertsons?
Walk away and not do anything.
Pocatello police officer Kenny McClure says the decision to help a homeless man was a no-brainer. It was a few days after Christmas and temperatures were freezing. McClure was working his regular day shift and was out checking on homeless people.
But towards the end of my day, we had one last call, a report of a man walking down Yellowstone with no shoes on.
McClure found the man. He had dirty clothes on and was walking on freezing, snow-covered sidewalks barefoot.
Like I said, he was just passing through, asked where his shoes were, 'cause it was cold outside. He said, I haven't had any shoes for a couple days, and just kind of wanted to get on his way. But I told him I can't just let you, walk off without any shoes or anything.
The man wore size 14 shoes, not easy to find, so McClure started calling stores in the Pocatello-Chubbuck area. Finally, a pair was located at Shopko, so the officer drove the homeless man to pick up his new pair of shoes.
He only had a little bit of money on him, and so I was like, well, I'll buy your shoes for you. You know, that's the least I can do.
Once Officer McClure bought the homeless man his shoes, he didn't stop there. The man was trying to get to Idaho Falls, so the officer put him back in his police car and took him to the bus station.
He was grateful, especially when he was able to use his money to get some food down there at the bus stop.
McClure bought the man a bus ticket and he was on his way. The officer says he didn't do this for any recognition or publicity. It was just the right thing to do.
I don't think I could have gone home knowing that there was a guy that I could have helped out there walking out barefoot. So I don't think I could have turned away from helping somebody that needed help.
Dane will now present the 2018 Spirit of the Red Cross Award to Pocatello Officer Kenny McClure. Officer McClure, can you please join us? Would all of our winners please stand for one more round of applause? Ladies and gentlemen, these are your 2018 East Idaho Real Heroes. I hope that you're as inspired by them as I am. If these stories encourage you to reach out when someone needs your help or to register for a Red Cross first aid kit or a CPR kit or even to donate blood for free orange juice, that would be a great outcome. We hope that you will. All of these stories will be posted on eastidahonews.com in the coming days, so you're welcome to share with your friends how awesome Eastern Idahoans are. Before we leave today, I'd like to take one more opportunity to emphasize all the essential work the Red Cross does and invite you now to lean in and get involved. Did you know that Red Cross volunteers respond to an Idaho house fire almost every day, and that its blood donors give 68,000 units of blood every year? That's enough blood to save the lives of 204,000 people. That's enough people to fill Boise Stadium 5.5 times. And they do all this with only 22 paid staff members in the Idaho and Montana region and no less than 420 volunteers right here in Idaho. Again, you have the cards on your table that you can donate. Did we hit the amount? Almost. We can hit it. There's still time to give to help the Red Cross secure a new East Idaho emergency response vehicle. As you can see on the screen, we have raised just over $1,200, I believe. And you can do that by texting 74121 with the word heroes. On behalf of the Idaho Red Cross, I want to thank all of our heroes, our sponsors, our volunteers, and each one of you for being here today. We truly appreciate all you do. Have a good day.